Complicated on down to the basics. Tray flips and burials, the front side crooked.
Good morning, as John Hill would say. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday. For me, it's raining here, which has put quite the damper on my ability to film Flat Bar Friday. So instead, I'll be answering your guys' questions from Instagram. Let's jump right into it. First, we have KD300, favorite tattoo. I have a tattoo of the Las Vegas sign. That would probably be my favorite. But for a lot of people, if you have a lot of tattoos, you'll know it's hard to have a favorite because I like them all. There's a lot of questions like, what's your worst tattoo? And I don't think any of them are bad at all. And a lot of people say, oh, there's no perfect tattoo. And I kind of agree with that, but it's almost like every tattoo's kind of perfect in its own way if you're not gonna complain about it. And I could point out every little tiny detail of each tattoo where it's like, I don't really like where that ended up. But in general, those details are so small. And anything on your own body, anything you do yourself, typically you're gonna be your own worst critic. But for me, I like everything I have, and I'm getting my back actually finished in about 2 weeks, so that'll be extra cool. Mr. Chrissy asks, what's my favorite knife brand? I don't know anything about knife brands, but I do have a Smith & Wesson like tactical knife, and it's super fucking dope. It has like serrated edges, right? I don't know, I'm gonna fucking nerd out right now on this one knife that I have. All the other knives are like Gerber shit from Walmart, but this one has like the serrated edges. It has like the glass break. Then it has the, what do you call it, like the seatbelt cutter, and it looks cool, and it's fucking heavy duty. On top of that, everything Smith & Wesson makes is super like, you know, top notch. And I don't know anything about knives, but that knife I have, it's pretty dope. JP Garcia asks, when am I coming back for round 3 of bottle flipping? First and foremost, shout out to everyone from Major Crew. They just came out with Major skateboards, which is a huge deal. It's a big leap, and it's you know, I'm proud of these guys for the progress they've made. If you guys like Major Crew, definitely Google search Major Skateboards and support them by buying a skateboard. They have a lot of different skateboards out. And if you like me more than Major, buy my shit, cakemuscle.com. But it's really a big deal, so extra big shout out to Major. And if you guys didn't know about it, go look it up. Check out the designs. They're really cool. JP, when am I coming back for round 3? You don't want it. You saw what I can do outside of, you know, my element. You bottle flip me in Las Vegas with no humidity and none of your little trick shots and bullshit, you're going down. But I'll probably be out there when it gets a little bit warmer. I would say April. But fuck that, why don't you guys come out and see me? Kay asks, how many UFCs have I attended, if any? First off, I used to work for UFC, or I used to work for Zuffa, which at the time owned UFC, and they probably still do. I don't know how all that legal stuff works, but we got special discounts on shows, and most of the shows are here in Las Vegas. So I went to probably 10 different shows, and I went to one in LA, so I had like the ticket plug. And then on top of that, I used to train at a gym with a lot of UFC fighters, and they would always have these special deals, so I would get tickets from them also, even after I stopped working for UFC. So I've been to a lot. What doesn't translate when you watch it on TV, I recommend everyone go to one if you're a fight fan, because that shit is fucking epic. The way they do the music and the lights, you feel like you're at like a real fucking like Coliseum death match. And the theatrics is a huge part of those fights that you don't get when you watch it on pay-per-view and you're just listening to Joe Rogan and Goldberg, and it's like, what the fuck, man, I want to be there. Having been to so many, I definitely recommend you guys go out there, especially if you're a fight fan. And even if you're like a little casual fight fan, you guys would have a fucking blast. Minus the fact that beers cost like $10. That's the only drawback. Stephen Krellin asks, what was the best part about skating as a kid? I gotta think about it because there's a lot of great things, but it's hard to... I should have thought about this one before I started filming. Probably everything being so new. I think that's why a lot of you guys get mad at my sponsor reviews, because I say like, oh, this is a dumb trick, this is a dumb trick. And those tricks become dumb because, sure, they were exciting when I sucked. Everything's exciting when you're a beginner. Every time you land a trick and you're rolling backwards, it's like, oh my god, I just backside flipped. Oh my god, I just frontside flipped. And having spent so many years skateboarding, we're approaching year number 15 of skateboarding. There's not a lot of stuff that can inspire you and impress you, and there's only so many gigantic 50/50s that are gonna make you go, oh wow, that was cool anymore. Versus as a kid, even when you're not watching shit on TV or videos, even if you're just watching your friends skate and it's like, holy shit, he skated the neighborhood 5-stair and tray flipped it, and you'd be super fucking hyped and you'd be like losing your shit over a 5-stair tray flip. Versus now, it's kind of like, oh wow, you tray flipped a 5-stair, good fucking job. I remember when I skated for 1 year, pussy. So I think the excitement that I used to have was the funnest part of skating as a kid. Not only that, the adventures. I didn't have a car. Me, my friend Bobby, my friend Jericho, Tex, we would skate all over this fucking city. And this city's kind of small, you know, it's only like 20 miles long, 20 miles wide, but we would skate fucking all day long. Just vroom, vroom, vroom. If we got lost, we'd have to take the bus back, but it was always an adventure, especially in a fucked up city like this with all these bums and drug addicts and crime and excitement and strippers and prostitutes, and we're just, you know, 4 little kids skating around, zooming everywhere, trying to tray flip the 5-stair that's at UNLV fucking 20 miles away. It's really exciting and, you know, nostalgic to think about how much everything was like, fuck, this is amazing, this is amazing, this is amazing, and now I have this like old man like, fucking get the hell out of my way, I have to roll over a crack, you know. It's like I've become so spoiled. I think a lot of people have, but still the passion is there, so that's why I continue to do it. Bobo Monkey asks, would I pro scooter for $10 million? And number one, I'm basically already a pro scooterer. The only difference is I don't actually have to suck dick. But the question you're asking is basically, would I suck dick for $10 million? And the answer is yes. But then I have a counter question. Why are people out there sucking dick for free when there's pro scootering available to where you can get paid $10 million? I don't understand it. I gotta get the money first though, because I know how these scooters like to act. Next question is, Shira asks, favorite band, ? And have you seen them live? Lately, I've been a huge fan of Jelly Roll. He's a country rapper from Nashville. He has that sort of like twang, but it's also like still about drugs and guns and shit like that. So it's like, okay, I can still get that hyped up vibe that I would get from 3-6, but then I can still get that weird country vibe I would get from some fucking Hank Williams. I don't know. I dig it. But for me, you know, my music taste changes all the time, and there's been certain shows I'll go to and it'll be an artist I really enjoy, and then they'll put on the show and I'll just be like, oh fuck, like that was really lackluster. And then there'll be other shows that I go to and I'll be like, nah, I don't really care for this guy, or this band's okay. And then they put on a show that fucking kills it and changes my whole like perception of music, because part of the music is the performance, right? Why would we do performances if music was the whole thing? If music was the whole thing, it'd be like the movies. You could just go to a place, they'd play the CD, and you'd be like, oh, I really like this music. So for me, for a performer or an artist to be really good, they have to also put on a really good show. I got a little off track on that question, but good question for sure. I updated my fucking phone and now I go to swipe right and then it just brings up the news. Oh, it's fucking awful. Young LP asks, favorite wrestlers? ? When I was younger, I watched a lot of WCW, and I don't remember too much about wrestling, but I know I really liked Rey Mysterio Jr. I don't know if he still wrestles, but he was like a small guy who was always like flipping and jumping and flying through the air, and I really dug that. I watched a lot of ECW, and I liked a guy in there named Super Crazy, and he was the exact same thing. He was a little bigger of a guy. He was like this Mexican like luchador guy, and he would always be doing backflips. In fact, his finishing move, he would just backflip onto you 3 times in a row. He would fucking backflip, boom, then he'd climb up the rope, backflip again, boom, then he'd climb up to the top, backflip again, boom, and then that was like his finishing move. And of course you guys already know, what about Stone Cold Steve Austin? What? I dig Steve Austin, not so much because of his wrestling abilities, because I could count on 2 hands the amount of Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestling matches I've seen, but as far as his personality, his acting, I mean, that shit is fucking amazing. The character that guy created is unfucking stoppable. And I don't know about his acting skills. I haven't seen him in that many movies, but that guy could be a fucking actor the way that he pulls off the Stone Cold thing. It's getting dark. It's still raining. It's getting cold. So we're gonna cut this Q&A short. Hopefully I got around to answering your question. Hopefully next week we'll be back with a normal Flat Bar Friday or Flat Bar review. Until next time, guys, Kuna Matata, bitches. Yep, just broke my chair.
You